everybody, and welcome. My name is Stephanie, and today I will be leading you through a Yin Yang Yoga class. Thank you so much for your patience there while I just set up some angles with my camera. We have about 2 minutes until we officially start class. But in the meantime, I encourage you to come to a comfortable seated posture. Today I'm going to be using 2 blocks and my blanket. And when we are doing our yin yang practice, it's all about the balance. So not necessarily balancing on our feet, that kind of balance, but the balance within the practice. So the yang portion of the practice, that's what we start off with. That is our vinyasa flow. So we're moving with dynamic movements to create warmth and heat in the body, to build up a little bit of strength. So we're getting this flow out. We're already kind of just flushing everything out of our body and also our mind, just getting into the zone. And that's when we introduce the yin. So the yin comes to the second half of our class, and that's where we cultivate our focus, our awareness, and mindfulness by going into deeper postures, and this will help to improve our flexibility. So working first on movement, giving ourselves the space to open up into our yin postures, and then we hold and find that stillness. So balancing between stillness and movement, this flow and this static, and all together, when they come together, they make a very balanced overall practice. So when you leave this class today, you should be feeling a little bit more balanced, a little bit more mobile and flexible, and hopefully feeling really good too. So coming into our seated position, just begin to come into this space right now. Let go of any distractions happening outside of the 4 corners of your mat, and come into this moment. You've set aside an hour to practice yoga today, and let's enjoy every second of it. It's officially time to begin. For those of you just tuning in, welcome. Again, my name is Stephanie, and today we're going to be doing our Yin Yang class. Starting off just in an easy pose, relaxing in our seated posture. Close the eyes and turn the gaze inward. You can focus your attention at one of the chakra points like the heart center. And begin to lengthen your inhales and your exhales. See if you can find some length in the spine, reaching the crown up as you ground down through the sitting bones. Take the next few moments to find an intention for your class. Maybe it's what I was mentioning before, balance, and finding that balance within your own life. Maybe it's to let go, for patience, or just to fill your cup. Whatever it is, envision it now. We're going to use that intention throughout our practice today. Whenever our mind wanders, we'll come back to that thought and remind ourselves why we showed up on our mat. Relax through the jaw, relax through the knees. Let the shoulders feel heavy as they come down the back. Feel powerful in the seated posture. Your seat of personal power here. Sitting with elegance and grace. Let it all go. Find peace in every breath. And as we move, we'll find peace in every movement. let's begin to blink our eyes open. On our inhale, we'll reach the arms up overhead and tilt the gaze towards the hands. Exhale, hands come down to the heart center. Take a moment with them here. Inhale to reach up overhead, palms touch. Exhale, palms come down to the heart center and take a moment. Inhale for the last one. Reach up and bring the hands down to center. Wonderful. We're going to start our practice today in our tabletop. So if you need a little cushion for the knees, that's where the blanket can come in. I'm going to leave mine just on the side for now as we find our alignment in table. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Spread those fingers wide apart and find some stability here. Core is engaged. Gaze is right between the thumbs. Let's come into some cat and cow. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, cow pose. Exhale to push into the hands and lift up right between the shoulder blades as your gaze goes towards the belly button for cat pose. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat. Just take your time here, feeling your spine move through each phase of this flow. Follow your breath, inhaling for cat pose, inhaling for cow pose, exhaling for cat. And let's add a little bit more dynamic movement here. So the next time you're in your cat pose, bring the sitting bones towards the heels and then drop your elbows. And let's come into our cow pose by dragging that heart center forward, lifting up, looking up, and then finding our cat pose as we bring the sitting bones towards the heels. Inhale and exhale. Just waking up the body with this gentle warm-up stretch. Let's find 3 more together. Inhaling and exhale. 2 more. Last one. And then returning to a neutral table. We're going to bring our hands just slightly in front, so they're, instead of under our shoulders, just in front of our shoulders. We're going to come into some hip rolls now. So as we inhale, we come forward, shoulders are above the wrist. We're kind of in a kneeling plank position. And as we exhale, we roll to the right. Again, bring those sitting bones towards the heels, roll to the left, and come back up to that kneeling plank. Finding some mobility in the legs. Just like I mentioned before, the beginning part of this practice is going to be a lot of dynamic movements like this, where we're flowing and moving with our breath. So go with the flow, follow your breath here, and let's do 2 more circles in this direction. Once you've completed those, return to this kneeling plank. And let's go the opposite way. So bringing the hips to the left, back and to the right. See if you can really center this movement around the hips. So the hips is where the movement starts and where it ends. Finding our last 2 circles. And then returning back to center, walk the hands under the shoulders and find your tabletop. Now if you find for the next move the wrists are getting a little tender, you can come down onto your forearms, or you can bring your hands into fists. And when you're on the knuckles and fists like this, it's actually supporting the wrist because we're strengthening and tightening the muscles around there. So find your option. engage the core, come into a neutral spine and tuck both toes under. On your inhale, we're going to reach the right leg back. And as we do this, I want to make sure we're not opening up through the hip here. The hips are square, toe is pointing down, knee is pointing down. This is our inhale position. So core is still engaged, belly button is lifted towards the spine. Inhale. On the exhale, we're going to point the toe and bring the knee into the chest, finding our cat spine here as we bring the nose towards the knee. Inhale, reach it back. This time as we exhale, we're going to bring the knee to the elbow. Exhale, knee to the elbow. Inhale, reach the leg back to our starting position. And this time, we're going to bend the knee towards a 90-degree angle. So the sole of the foot is shining towards the sky, hips are still square, core is still engaged. We'll exhale for 3 pumps upward. 3, 2, and 1. Drop the knees together, wag the tail out slightly, and we'll do that on our left side. So starting with the left leg back, hips square. This is our inhale, our starting position. On the exhale, pointing the toe, knee to the chest, tuck in the chin. Inhale, straighten it back out, flex the foot, toes are pointing down. Keeping this flexed foot position on the next exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, bring it back. Bend the knee 90 degrees so that sole of the foot is shining up. And on our next exhale, 3 pulses. 1, 2, and 3. Drop the knee and shake out the hips. We're going to do that once more on each side. So just to recap, inhale straight, exhale into the chest. Inhale straight, exhale to the elbow. Inhale straight, bend the knee for 3 pulses. All right, let's add a little speed here. Toes are tucked to give a little extra balance. Core is engaged throughout. So inhale, reach the leg back. Exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, reach the leg back. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, reach the leg back. Exhale, bend the knee. Inhale to squeeze the core, and let's do 3 pumps. 3, 2, and 1. Drop the knees together, shake the tail, and let's go right on to the next side. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, nose to knee. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, left leg back. Exhale, bend the knee. Inhale to engage the core, and let's do 3 pumps. 3, 2, and 1. Drop the knees together and shake the tail out. Awesome job. Let's come on to our knees kneeling for a moment. Shake out the wrists, give them a little roll, and then bring the hands on the thighs. We're going to do a few kneeling cat-cows, bringing the movement further into our shoulders than into the lower back. So inhale, open through the chest. Try to really focus on the shoulder area. Exhale, push it back. Inhale to open. Exhale to push back. 2 more. Wonderful. And finding a neutral tabletop again. We're going to walk back, tucking the toes under and finding our way into a squat. So coming high onto the toes, heels are touching and knees are open wide. Hands come between the knees here. So if we would like, we could also bring a block in the middle here. I'll just demonstrate that. And that can offer a little bit of support for our next flow. So next flow, 5 reps moving from this pose into our forward fold. So inhaling here, noting that the gaze is forward, the chest is lifted. On the exhale, dropping the crown of the head down as our heels come down and looking towards our knees. Inhale, find your yogi squat. And exhale, forward fold. Have softness in the knees as you fold. Inhale, yogi squat. Exhale, forward fold. 2 more. Keep that chest lifted. Exhale, moving with control here for our final set. And exhale, get all the cracks out of those knees. And holding our exhale here. Let's come into a halfway lift on the inhale. Gaze is straight down, back is flat. Exhale to fold. Inhale, reach up, hands meet overhead. Exhale, hands to heart center. Find 2 breaths here. Release the hands down into your mountain pose. I'll just readjust my mat while you're breathing here in mountain so we can all get a better view. All right, so stepping towards the top of your mat, I have my 2 blocks here if I need for a little support. Just finding some softness in the knees. The knees never have to be totally locked out, especially when we're doing our flows. We want to have some softness here, and rather than locking the joint, squeeze the core. Use the muscles to support your body. Inhale, reach up, hands meet overhead, gaze follows. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Plant the hands, step the right leg back, and step the left leg back. Now you can come right into your kneeling plank or hold for high plank. The shoulders are above the wrists. All together, we're lowering down for our chaturanga. Forehead is grounded to start. Tops of the fingers are in line with the shoulders. Elbows are tight and toes are pointing down. Let's find our cobra. Inhale. And exhale to lower. On our next inhale, we're moving from our table into our downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Walk up your dog, dropping one heel down at a time. Shake out the head, yes. Shake the head, no. Find some stillness and take a cleansing breath. So push equally into both hands here. Keep the head in line with the biceps. And we're going to reach the right leg back, just like we did when we were kneeling. We're holding here, just finding our alignment. Get that and build that muscle memory here. So my hips aren't opening up. My hips are in line with one another. Foot is flexed, knee is pointing down. And lower the foot back down into your downward dog. Left leg reaches back. Just finding that muscle awareness. We're going to be coming back to our 3-legged dog. So just finding some familiarity there. Take one more breath and lower it down. So the next flow, I have 2 options for it. So if you want something a little bit gentler, we can flow from our downward facing dog, inhaling to high plank, exhaling downward facing dog. And just moving from these 2 positions, straightening the legs for the high plank and bending the knees a little bit to return to our downward facing dog. Now if you wanted to add on a little bit more dimension, you can follow along with me. Inhaling, finding our downward dog and staying here on the exhale. Lifting the right leg up on the inhale for a 3-legged dog. Exhale, knee comes into the chest as the shoulders come above the wrist. Inhale, kick it back. Exhale, knee into the elbow or shoulder, just like we were doing earlier. Exhale, kick it back. This time, knee crosses over to the opposite elbow. And kick it back. Bring the feet together, finding your downward dog. Take a breath. And we'll move on the opposite side. Left leg reaches back. Inhale. Exhale, knee into the chest. Inhale, kick it back. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Inhale, kick it back. Exhale, left knee, right elbow. Inhale, kick it back. Drop the feet together and walk the feet towards the hands, finding a forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, reach up, hands meet overhead. And exhale, hands to the heart center. Find your mountain pose here and take a few breaths. Notice how the body is feeling now, where you're starting to feel that buildup of warmth. And just let it be. We're going to do one more flow, and then we're going to get into our yin. So inhale, reach the hands up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Step the right leg back and wiggle back on the right toes. We're going to come up into our high crescent lunge from here. So squeeze everything into midline and lift the head and shoulders above the hips. On our next exhale, finding our warrior two. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten through the front leg. Reach the left fingers forward and come into your triangle pose. So the left hand and wrist is above the shoulder, or you can place it on the lower back here. Inhale. On the next exhale, bringing both hands forward, pivoting on the back foot. We're going to step into a forward fold again. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Step back with the left foot. Wiggle the toes back, and we'll lift up slowly into our high crescent lunge. Inhale and exhale here. Imagine you have a big beach ball up overhead that you're using to hold in your arms. On our next exhale, coming into our warrior two. So pivoting our feet a little bit and widening our stance, bending that front knee in line or behind the front ankle. Now without moving the lower body, we're going to reverse our warrior. And inhale, warrior two. Straighten through the front knee. Reach the right arms forward. When you can't go forward anymore, coming into our triangle pose. Now, if that left wrist can't come over the shoulder, if it's going to the side, we bring the hand on the lower back so we can open the shoulder back as well. We're going to begin to bring both hands down, bend to the knee, and walk the hands forward as you pivot the feet so that they're parallel with one another. Find a wide-legged forward fold by exhaling and dropping the head, the crown of the head down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Bend the knees. Inhale, lift up into our five-pointed star. Take a breath. And reach the arms up overhead, folding downward again. We're going to walk both hands to the left leg. Take a breath here. You can have a bend in the knee as well. And see if we can bring the forehead towards the knee. Take 2 breaths holding this pose. And slowly walk the hands back through center. And now to the right leg. You can reach your left hand over the right to really feel the stretch against the side body. 2 breaths here. And returning back to center. Heel toe, nice and together until we find the feet about hip width apart. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart center. Sorry, we got a little disconnected there. So coming back to the top of our mat now. Inhale, reach up overhead. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step the feet back, find your high or kneeling plank. We're going to lower down, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. And exhale, we move through our table into our first yin posture, our child's pose. So the knees are nice and wide, maybe even wider than the mat. Toes are touching. And we walk the hands forward with the forehead grounded. So a few options. If the forehead doesn't fully ground, let's use a prop, a block or something to help to support it. Another option, if you are very familiar with your child's pose and actually want to feel a little bit more of a stretch here, we can bring the hands on top of our blocks. So the important thing to keep in mind here is that it's not partial, like a partial part of the hand. The full hand is right over the center of the block, so it's giving it the most support it can. Sit here and breathe. Settle into this pose. And now is the little shift in our practice, when instead of focusing on our breath or the next move that's ahead, we're really focusing on what's happening within our body in this specific pose. So child's pose stretches the ankles, the hips, the groin. Where do you feel that? It also stretches through the shoulders and the arms, especially if your hands are on blocks. So where are you feeling this pose? And how can you ease into it a little bit deeper? Keep breathing. Relax. 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 So from here, we're going to begin to lift the gaze and bring the hands off of your blocks. Coming into just a lifted child's pose here. We'll walk both hands towards the right side. Maybe bringing the left hand over the right as we reach the arms forward and begin to sink into this twisted child's pose. Hold here. Continuously try to ground down through the left hips. Try to not let them rise in this twist. We want this twist coming from our upper body, not our lower body. Notice the subtle body changes happening when we twist our original pose. So now opening up through the right side body. Really feel your breath there. Feel that expansion as you inhale. And as you exhale, see if you can fall a little bit deeper into this pose. Release any tension. Release any stress. Remind yourself of that intention we started with. What brought you on your mat today? And how can you take the remainder of your class to help cultivate that, help call that in? Whatever whatever that energy is that you're needing. We have just about 1 more minute in this pose. Let's see if we can find a little bit more depth. Maybe walking to the right side a little bit more. Maybe crossing that left hand even past our right. Close the eyes and find 3 final breaths in this posture. Inhaling deeply through the nose and exhaling through the nose. And once you've completed that, begin to lift the head up again and uncross the hands. We're going to walk the hands all the way to the left side. And remember to start off slow. We don't want to start off where we left off on that side with the arm fully crossed. We're easing into it. We're taking our time. So just starting with settling down, maybe bringing the right hand on top of the left and reaching the hands forward. Start breathing and bringing your awareness to the side body. Feeling that stretch all the way down to the right hip crease. Really tap into the rhythm of your breath here. Find that balance in your breathing, the equality in the inhale and the exhale. Sometimes a little count can help. Inhaling for 3, holding for 1, exhaling for 3, holding for 1. And an important part of Yin Yoga is to also notice the space between breaths. Just as we're noticing the space we're creating in our body, we also need to give due diligence to the breath. And find your edge here, going a little bit deeper. And when I say find your edge, it's that place where you definitely notice the stretch. No pain, but the stretch is there. And at the same time, you can still breathe easily and fully. If at any point you're going too far where it's impacting the breath capacity, you can come out a little bit. We always want to have our full breath. That's an important keystone to our yoga practice. So it keeps everything together. Relax, let go, and surrender. Surrender to all the things that are beyond our control. Instead, we just bring our awareness to what we can control. Our breath, our thoughts, our mood. What can we do to support our life and our practice? Find your final 3 breaths in your twisted child's pose. And then begin to walk the hands up towards the knees. We're going to find ourselves into a table, so walking the knees in, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Find a breath here with a neutral spine. And then step the right foot towards the right hand. Lift up off of the back leg and step that foot towards the left hand. We're walking the feet together, finding softness into the knees, coming into a forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. This time we're going to step our left foot back, wiggle back on the left toes and drop the knee. You can use your blocks here if you like. Before we get into our hold, let's find a little dynamic movement. So coming into our low lunge, finding proper alignment, meaning our right knee is stacked just over our right ankle or slightly behind, and the left knee is behind the left hip. So we're just going to flow 5 times between our lunge. Inhale, exhale, half splits. The entire time blocks are under the shoulders. Half splits means straightening the front leg, flexing the foot, and then folding by hinging at the hips. Inhale, sink the hips forward. Exhale, half splits. One more. And then come back into your lunge. We're going to bring both blocks towards the instep of the foot and heel toe the right foot all the way to the right edge of our mat. Now if that left knee needs a little bit of cushion, you can always bring it on top of a blanket. The blocks are still under the shoulders here as we come on to first opposite elbow and then maybe both elbows and forearms, bringing the palms to touch. Now throughout this entire deepening into this pose, we want to make sure that this right foot is fully grounded. It may try to lift off and creep to the right side. Let's keep trying to hug the knee in towards the shoulder, finding our dragon here, our inside dragon. With the hands, I recommend not clenching the hands or clenching the teeth. Just bring the palms together. Gaze is straight down, so we still have length in the spine. And you can work on the placement and the height of these blocks to find a little bit more depth or to ease out of it. Remember, we're looking for that edge, and sometimes we cross it and need to come back out. So be gentle with your body. What we're doing now is cultivating that body awareness so we can listen. If you're feeling any tension, ease out. Keep pushing the right foot down into your mat and sinking the hips forward. We're here for just 3 more breaths. And slowly begin to bring the palms onto your blocks. We're going to stay in our lunge, but we're going to walk our blocks to the left side, just off of our mat. We want to keep the lower body exactly as it is, but the upper body is going to be wandering off a little bit to the left. And you can come back onto the forearms here. Palms can still touch. This is called our wandering dragon. So just note that your right knee is still going forward towards the top of your mat. Breathe. We're not here for long, just 2 more minutes. So come into that rhythm. Let go of any tension you may be carrying in the jaw or in the neck and the shoulders. Find some ease here. Noticing again the change that can happen with just shifting of movement a little bit. Just like with our child pose, when we did our side stretch, we feel it differently. Similar with our dragon, when we come to the side, we're all of a sudden activating different parts of the body. What are those changes? Notice them and relax. Let's find 3 final breaths here. Very slowly begin to bring the hands onto your blocks and bring the blocks back to center. Heel, toe, the knees together, and bring the hands off of your blocks. Just bring the blocks to the top of the mat. I'm just going to switch sides on mine so I still have a good angle for you guys to see me. But for the rest of us, from our table, we're going to come into our forward folds by stepping the right foot towards the right hand and the left foot towards the left hand. Softness is happening in the knees here as we step towards the top of our mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. Bring your hands on your mat or on blocks, and now step your right leg back. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle all the way back onto the right toes, and then drop down onto the right knee, bringing your blocks with you all the way under your shoulders. So you're lifting, oops, that block wants to get away. So you're lifting up through the heart, sink the hips forward. Inhale here. Exhale, half split, straighten through the front leg, flex the foot, and then fold forward with a long spine. Inhale for our lunge. Exhale for your fold. 3 more. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. And exhale. And returning back into our low lunge, bringing both blocks towards the instep of the foot. We'll heel toe until our left foot is at the left corner of our mat, or left edge, should I say. We're going to slowly start by coming down on opposite forearms, maybe on both forearms. Keep sinking the hips forward, keep that left foot fully grounded, palms to touch, and let's breathe here. Surrender. Find your edge. Close your eyes. And see if on every exhale you can sink a little bit deeper, even if it's just a millimeter deeper. Where can you find some softness? And where are you looking to find engagement? What engagement here is going to help support the body? Maybe it's a little squeeze of the glutes to support the legs. Maybe it's pushing down into the elbows of the blocks so that you have a really active shoulder here to support the weight of the body as we lean forward. The softness, however, comes in those places that don't need to have engagement. So softness in the hands and the feet, softness in the jaw and in the neck. Can we slow down our breath a little bit more for our last minute here? Close your eyes and bring your awareness to one of the parts of the chakra. So maybe it's the third eye point, maybe it's the heart center, maybe it's the crown of the head, wherever it is, bring your inner gaze there. Close your eyes and breathe. Find your final 3 breaths while maintaining this focus. And slowly begin to lift onto the hands. Take a breath here. And then we'll walk the blocks out to the side. So just like I mentioned in the last time, we still want to keep sinking the hips forward, and we want that knee to be directed towards the top of our mat. We're just moving the body slightly, so only go as far as it feels comfortable, or you're still in this position with a lower body. Start by bringing opposite forearm down, and then mirror forearm down. And just notice the changes that are already happening with this subtle shift to the right. Keep pushing in and down through the left foot, into the elbows. Find peace in every breath. These moves are the ones that are really going to get deep in there. They're going to help you feel the flexibility improve. We've kind of warmed our body up in our yin, so we have a little bit more range of motion. And that way, when we're holding these deeper postures, we can find a little bit more depth in there. Remind yourself of that intention again. Always come back to it when the mind begins to wander. When you start getting into the lists of the day, or what you want to have after you, what do you want to have to eat after this? Once the mind starts going there, you know you have to come back, and it's normal. That's what the mind wants to do. The mind can be designed in a way where it seeks distraction, where it's looking for the next thrill or the next output of stimulus. And what we do with yoga, especially with yin, is we slowly train the mind to focus. We train the mind to know that it's okay to be still, it's okay to let go of that attention, because the mind is only doing its job, but we need to tell it what that job is. Let's find 3 more breaths. Slowly begin to lift up and walk the hands back to center, straightening through that front leg as we heel toe the knees together. Bring the blocks off to the side and just shake the tail side to side here, massaging the knees and getting out any kinks that are happening in the hips right now. We're going to come onto one side and find our staff pose. Now, I always like to sit on an edge of a blanket in my staff pose. I like the little lift of my hips. So if that's something you enjoy too, feel free. Just right on the little lip of the fold. Extending the left leg, I'm going to bring the right knee towards my chest and interlace over the right shin, keeping the left leg fully extended and flexed. I'm going to start digging my heel down into the mat. Cross the right leg over the left and bring the right hand behind the right sitting bones. Again, anchoring down through this left foot, even through the inner arch. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hug the knee in towards the midline as you look over the right shoulder. Now, there's another way to get into this pose that might feel a bit more comfortable for you, and that's bringing the back of the elbow against the back of the knee, where the wrist is still over the elbow, but the fingers are spread wide apart. And sometimes this can help just push that leg a little bit further over the midline. Both sitting bones are grounded as we look over the right shoulder in our half spinal twist. Breathe. On the inhale, see if you can find length in the spine. And as you exhale, try to look over that right shoulder. So the way our spine works is we need to create space between the vertebrae so that the spine can twist. When the vertebrae are really close together and locked, then it's very hard to twist it. But when they've separated just a bit, we have more range of motion. So just knowing that and working on elongating the spine is also going to help us find a little bit more depth in our twist. We're just here for 3 more breaths. And slowly return back to center. Uncross the legs and give them a little bit of a shake, shake, shake. Shake it all out. We're going to do that on the opposite side. So bringing the left leg in, interlacing over the left shin, and engaging our right leg by pressing the heel down into the mat and bringing the toes back towards the knee. We'll cross the left leg over the right and bring the left hand behind the left sitting bones. We're using this hand to help elongate the spine, to help keep it tall and straight. It's our support. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, either hug the knee by bringing the knee into the elbow pit or bring the back of the knee against the back of the elbow. Whatever is feeling more comfortable for you today. Regardless, we're all looking together over that left shoulder. Breathe here. Feel equal distribution of weight in both sitting bones. Push down through the inner edge of the left foot and push down through the right heel. See if you can engage the core. When we draw the belly in, we create more space to twist as well. And don't twist so far that you still can't breathe. So important to find a fullness in our breath when we're twisting. This is really good for detoxifying our internal organs. Keep breathing and keep twisting. Keep actively pushing the elbow into the side of the knee or hugging the knee further along the midline. So we want the knee to go to the right and the body to move to the left. Just really wringing out through the abdominal area. If you want to go a little deeper in this pose, a smile always does the trick. Reminding yourself that you're enjoying this, that you're doing this for your own well-being, and letting that smile send a message to your brain too, saying, hey, it's all good. Let's find 3 more breaths here. And slowly coming back to center, uncrossing the legs, stretching it nice and long, and shake the legs out. If you like, you can start tapping the legs from the hips, tap the thighs, tap down all the way to the feet, tap the feet. This just helps get any blood or fluid moving and flowing. So wherever wherever you're feeling that tension. I know for me it's always a little extra in the hips, so I'm going to give a little bit of extra pats there, maybe bringing my hands into knuckles for a little. Wonderful. So the next pose, we're going to be using some of our props, but if you don't have props today, no worries. You can still do this without. For those of us who do have props, we're going to take our blanket and we're going to have it nice and wide like this. So long, a lot of surface area. When I'm thinking of length, I'm thinking of what can support me from the base of my spine to the crown of my head. So I can already see this blanket. Looks like it's just about good. So I'll start by rolling the blanket up into a little log here. I'm going to take the fringe part and put it towards the top of the mat so it's not really interrupting or getting in the way. Just making sure the blanket is nice and without any wrinkles or anything that's going to annoy me. Bringing my blocks so that they're handy. And I'm going to take my hand and bring it about right up to the base of my finger, or the base of my spine, right near the tailbone. And just keep about 1 hand's distance. Hand like this, between my sitting bones and the blanket. Slowly, I'll begin to lower down onto my back, keeping the blanket supporting the spine the entire time. And I also want my head completely supported as well. I'm going to bring the soles of my feet to touch, creating a diamond shape with my legs. Now my heels don't have to be super close to the sitting bones like they would be in a traditional butterfly. We can have them a little bit further away. And I'm going to use my blocks to pad under my thighs. Arms are about 45 degrees away from the body with the palms facing up. As I begin to settle into my reclined bound angle pose. This is a gentle heart opener here because the blanket is actually helping to open through the chest. Our shoulders are wrapping around the blanket. And then it's also a little hip and groin opener because we have the support of the blocks to see how deep we can go with keeping these legs open, feeling this stretch in the inner thighs. Now if I don't have blocks or a blanket, I'll just bring my feet together and maybe even widen this V a little bit more so it's not so much strain on the thighs to hold up the knees. Close your eyes here and turn inward towards your body. Where are you feeling really good? For me, my hips are feeling a lot looser than they did this morning. I can definitely feel that flesh in my legs from all that dynamic movement. And a little bit now in this pose, through the shoulders and the spine. I definitely feel like I'm sitting or lying down a little bit taller and straighter. I'm breathing a little deeper. And my mind is slightly more focused. Let's together bring our awareness to our third eye point, that place between the eyebrows and slightly above. Closing our eyes, we'll turn our inner gaze there. So we don't even have to shift the eyes any way to turn our inner gaze somewhere. It's just bringing our attention to that space. So you may want to tap that area a couple times and then remove your hand and just bring your awareness to where you are tapping. As you inhale, imagine your breath drawing in through that third eye point. Fills your head with this air, this cloud of white air as you inhale. And as you exhale, envision that air escaping out through the back of the skull. And as it does, the mind begins to become clear. Again, inhaling through the third eye point, filling the mind with this cloud of white air. And as you exhale, the white air escapes and the mind becomes clearer and lighter. Keep breathing with this visualization. The white air is our eraser. It comes in and clings to any thoughts or emotions we may be holding on to. And as we exhale, along with that white air goes all that residual thought and feeling. We become clear, we become neutral, we feel effortless. Let's take 3 more breaths here. If you choose to continue the visualization, that's great. But if not, if you just want to focus on depth of breath, that's okay too. Slowly begin to find some gentle movements in the body, wiggling the fingers and wiggling the toes. Bring your hands on either side of the thighs and help close your legs as you bring the blanket or the blocks to one side. We're going to reach the left or right arm up overhead and come onto either side that you reach that arm to, coming off of our blanket. Just finding a fetal position here, resting your head on the bicep. Right hand or left hand is grounding ourselves right in front of the body. Take 1 breath. And then slowly push yourself up. And we'll find a comfortable seated posture right in the center of our mat today. Sitting up tall and straight. Finding length in the spine as the hands come towards the heart center. Inhale deeply through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Inhale. Exhale. Let's inhale to Om. Bring the thumbs up to the third eye point and send a little loving gratitude to yourself for showing up on your mat today. Let's make a commitment now to take that gratitude and self-compassion with us through the rest of our day. Namaste. Namaste, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in with me. Again, my name is Stephanie, and it's always a pleasure to have you here practicing with me in my home yoga space. If you'd like to see more of these videos, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, YOGAVISION 108, or you can follow me on my personal social media. On Instagram, it's Shavasana with Stephanie. That's SAVASANA with Stephanie, STEPHANA. I had to think about that one for a second. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and that you're able to take this balance with you. Mwah. Thank you so much, everyone. Until next time.